Hey everyone, Dan with Ansarada Support here. Welcome to part 2 of our Data Room training series, where we'll look at best practices for uploading and managing your documents. Feel free to click the link if you missed part 1, and as always, you can check out our help and support library or contact our friendly support team with any questions you might have after the video. Otherwise, let's get started. The Manage Documents section of your room will provide all of the necessary tools to create and organize your document index. Your first steps will be to set up the initial index, which can be managed in a number of ways. If you have not pre-populated your index, you can use the Add Folder function to build your index directly within the room. From here, you can use the Add Document tool to upload a single document, or use the Bulk Upload function to add multiple documents or folders. For our purposes, we'll assume our full index has already been built out on my desktop and use the Bulk Upload function to easily transfer this into the room. From the Bulk Upload window, you can simply drag and drop your built-out index directly from your desktop. You'll note that if you are uploading empty folders, or if there are any empty folders within your current index, you will need to compress this prior to upload. I know that there are no documents in my final folder here, so I'll simply zip the index and drag it into the upload window. Once it's in the window, you'll see that everything can expand out for review. You'll also see the total number of items and the size of the upload, and on the right-hand side, we have a few options available prior to transfer. By default, your upload will go directly to the top folder level of your document index. If you have an existing folder where this upload should live, you can redirect it via the Change Parent Folder option. Items uploaded into an existing folder will take on the default security settings of this parent folder upon upload. From here, you'll see that all uploads are set up in a disabled state by default. Disabled documents and folders are only visible within the Manage Documents section of the room, regardless of security settings. This allows you to review your settings prior to the documents going live in the index. While you can upload enabled documents, we recommend always uploading in a disabled state and enabling documents once you're satisfied with your security setup, just to be safe. Finally, if you've already numbered your folders and files, you can select the Use My Numbering option. Otherwise, leave this unchecked and the Deal Room will populate numbering on your behalf. Ansarada's default numbering will typically sort items alphabetically, but our Smart Sort feature will attempt to recognize certain patterns and sort your items logically based on indicators such as a reference to a month, year, or fiscal quarter within the item's title. You'll note that the default numbering in the room follows a double-digit format. If you're creating your own numbering, we recommend following this format, as numbering in the room will be read from left to right when organizing documents. If everything looks good, you can click Upload, and documents will start entering the room in real time. So if you happen to lose your connection during this process, you should be able to simply pick up where the outage occurred. Alright, so once we have our index in place, we can always reorganize things as needed. You'll note that if you scroll your mouse over an existing item in the room, a pencil icon will appear to the right. By clicking this, you can instantly edit the number of the item in order to reorganize the current level, or change any folder or document's name. If you need to edit multiple items in this fashion, you can use the direction keys on your keyboard to move up and down or left and right on your index based on your current view. As mentioned, this is great for reorganizing items on the same level. If you need to move items to a completely different folder, this can be done by dragging and dropping the item onto its new parent folder. You can also move items in bulk to a single location by selecting Actions and Move. From here, you can select entire folders or single documents and scroll down to choose their new parent folder. Confirm your security settings and select Move. Alright, so now that we've rearranged our index a bit, you might notice that the rest of your numbering has not auto-updated. This is done with your process in mind, as you may have provided a reference index outside of the room or have very specific indexing needs. If, however, you're happy with the current order and want to clean up any gaps or duplications in numbering, you can do so by selecting Actions and Renumber. The first thing you'll note on the Renumber tool is an option to adjust padding. This will essentially ensure that all items in the room have the same number of digits in their indexing for ordering purposes. So, for example, if you end up placing over 100 documents in a folder, you can adjust padding on that folder, and items 01, 02, and 03 will become items 001, 002, 003, etc. For our purposes, we're just looking to clean up the order, so we'll leave this set to Renumber folder contents. We'll go ahead and select our entire index in this case, and if you scroll to the bottom, you can typically leave these options set to the default unless you're looking to arrange items alphabetically, you want to completely remove numbering, or maybe you don't want to impact the contents of subfolders. For us, we want everything to stay in the same order, and we want subfolder numbering to auto-update. So, everything looks good, we can go ahead and select Renumber, and if we go back to our index, you'll note that gaps have been removed, and I can expand to see that subfolders and their documents have also been updated. Great! So now we have everything in the proper order. Once you've set up security and everything looks good, you can select Actions and Enable to make your room live in the index. Once again, you can select all or narrow this down to whichever items you are ready to make public. One quick thing to note as we start to make documents live. You may have noticed a tick box on several of our tools so far allowing you to notify affected users when access to a document is granted. This is checked by default on most actions in the room, but feel free to uncheck this if you don't want a notification sent on this specific action. Notifications will never be sent for disabled items. The only time notifications will be sent without option is if you choose to enable a single document or folder. So if you want full control of this, you'll want to use the bulk enable option whenever you are making documents go live. By default, notifications are sent out once a day at 10 a.m. Sydney, Australia time. Users in your room are able to adjust their individual settings under the Notifications tab. These can be adjusted to hourly, daily, or weekly notifications. After enabling items, you'll also note an option to disable items again, or delete irrelevant folders and documents. It should be noted that you will lose reporting on any deleted items, so if you wish to retain an audit trail, it's best to disable rather than delete. As your deal progresses, you may find a need to add new items or update existing documents. By selecting Edit next to any existing document, you'll find you can easily update to a revised edition. Your room will retain an audit trail of any document changes. You can also easily bulk upload or add a single item to any existing folder by selecting the Actions tab to the right. Be sure to review or modify your security on these items across all of your teams prior to going live. At any point in your deal, you can export an administrative Excel report of your index. This will highlight document format and size and will provide detail on when items were uploaded and by whom. It will also show if any modifications have occurred, and is a great workflow management resource if you have multiple team members who are uploading and managing your index. Finally, if you'd like to run an archive of your room, you will find the option to do so under the Actions tab of either the Document Index or Manage Documents section. A full archive will include all documents, an administrative view of all Q&A including any attachments, and user and document reporting. You can also run an archive to only include the documents and Q&A available to an existing external team. This filtered archive can also be set to include disabled documents, though we would normally advise against this when providing the archive to an outside party. Alright, so our index is looking great, and we're ready to start creating some outside parties. In our next session, we'll cover off some best practices for setting up security and the process of creating both internal and external teams. Thanks again for joining me today, and please feel free to reach out if you have any questions.